Today is all about young people, and since they are at the heart of the movement, they are at the heart of gender norm change, we begin today with that. Um, the theme of today is called Breaking Barriers Youth Leadership in Social Change. Our first conversation of the day is called Fireside Chat Invest to Impact. In this chat, we will ask how do we ensure long term, flexible feminist funding that allows youth centered work to thrive?
This is the best thing about working with your friends because you can settle the stage yourself and you can say that, you can sit here, I can sit here, and you can just arrange them around. So, thank you, Divya and Nisha. It's such a great privilege to be talking to you formally because it's an amazing opportunity to work with you. Like Nisha, you have been one of Breakthrough's first funders, right? And Divya, you are working with us at this point in time with a lot of youth, which is working. And I know how youth leadership, young girls' leadership, is at the center of JFF's work. So I'll just start the conversation. And to both of you, I always think about that all of us have come to this work because our context speaks that you have to work on this. And I want both of you to talk a little bit about what did you see in your context that made you feel that investing on youth and adolescents are very important, and what are you bringing in your work?
So I think it's very simple. I think especially for girls and that for anyone who identifies as a girl, if you ask a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old girl, what does she want to be when she grows up? She says astronaut. She says, a rocket scientist, right? That aspiration is absolutely there. If you ask her at 8, 9, 10, she says, I want to be a teacher, maybe a police officer, right? That's what we hear. By the time she's 15, she's like, I think I need to be independent, so I'll take any job that comes my way. And then by the time she's 18, she's just struggling to stay alive, right? And that absolute drop in aspiration where the rocket scientist or the astronaut, you know, 15 years later through adolescent is literally saying, मैं बस जिंदा रहना चाहती हूँ. Right? I mean, I think that is for no other reason. That is the number one reason that we need to be working with adolescent girls or boys. Because वो जो 10 से 19 का time frame होता है, उसमें हमारी aspiration मर जाती है. And it's counterintuitive because that 10 to 19 age is the most transformational age in a person's life. Right? So why is it that we have this drop in ambition and a drop of agency, especially if you're female, because it does mean, you know, more rules, more restrictions as you hit adolescence. For boys, it means increased agency, increased, less restrictions. Um, so why is it that in the most transformative years of our life, we actually see such a huge drop of agency and of ambition? And for that reason, and no other reason, we should be working with adolescent girls and boys.
सो ग्रोइंग अप मैं एक्चुअली काफ़ी रिलेटिवली छोट मेट्रो सिटी में नहीं पली बड़ी हूँ, लेकिन तब भी मेरे पास काफ़ी एडवांटेजेस थे, एजुकेशन के थे, प्रोग्रेसिव पेरेंट्स थे। लेकिन तब भी मुझे याद है हमेशा इस बात पे लड़ाई होती थी कि अंधेरे के बाद या अंधेरे से पहले घर आना है ना? या अकेले किसी के साथ चले जाओ, अकेले मत जाओ, है ना? और इस तरीके की जो स्ट्रगल्स थी मुझे लगता है कि आज भी हैं, मतलब हम सभी जूझते हैं, सुनते हैं। कुछ-कुछ पॉकेट्स में मैं देखती हूँ कि जैसे क्लेमिंग द नाइट टाइप के स्पेसेस होते हैं, पर तब भी वो काफ़ी अर्बन सेंट्रिक और कुछ पॉकेट्स में रहते हैं। लेकिन जहाँ-जहाँ ग्रामीण क्षेत्र हैं, वहाँ पर भी एक जब ये फ़ेज़ आता है एडोलेसेंस का, आजकल काफ़ी बातें ये तो हो रही हैं कि फ़िज़िकल क्या चेंजेज़ होते हैं, टेक्स्ट बुक में भी है, बहुत सारी बातें हो रही हैं। लेकिन ये भी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अब समझ जो हमारी बढ़ रही है कि इस फ़ेज़ में मेंटल जो चेंजेस होते हैं वो भी एक फेज़ आता है जहाँ हमारी रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी होती है, एपेटाइट होती है, एक्सपेरिमेंट करना चाहते हैं, कुछ नया सीखना चाहते हैं। हम प्यार में भी पड़ते हैं तो उसके जुनून में हम कुछ भी या कोई हमारा अगर सपना बनता है तो उसका भी एक अलग किस्म का जुनून होता है, जहाँ हमें लगता है कि अच्छा ये जो बाधाएँ थी या ये जो हमारे रास्ते की रुकावटें थी, कुछ तो ट्राई करते, किसी तरह कर लेंगे। एंड आई थिंक ये जो ऊर्जा होती है इसमें वो स्पेस कैसे मिल पाना उन आई थिंक 250 मिलियन एडोलेसेंट्स जो हमारी कंट्री में हैं और अलग-अलग बैकग्राउंड से हैं, क्षेत्रों में हैं, उनको वो स्पेसेस कैसे मिल सकेंगी जहाँ वो अपनी बातें रख सकें, एक दूसरे के साथ दोस्ती कर सकें और अपने जीवन का रुख खुद से तय कर सकें। मुझे बहुत एक्साइटिंग स्पेस लगता है, मुझे लगता है इसमें बहुत पोटेंशियल पॉसिबिलिटीज़ भी हैं, बहुत सारी चैलेंजेस भी हैं जैसे कि निशा ने बोला, है ना? और उसी में फिर हम देखते हैं कि जेंडर के नॉर्म्स जो हैं कि लड़के और लड़कों को ये सारा प्रेशर कि आपको कमाना है अब आपका अब बचपन एक तरीके से चला गया है, अब आपको सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी है, पैसे कमाने हैं, घर चलाना है और लड़कियों के लिए उतना ही डर कि कहीं ये अपने कास्ट के बाहर या रिलिजन के बाहर कहीं कोई रिश्ता ना बना लें, तो बिल्कुल घर के अंदर समेट के रखना या सिर्फ़ स्कूल तक जाना। लेकिन उन सब रुकावटों के बावजूद मैं देखती हूँ कि बहुत सारी उम्मीद की किरणें भी हैं और छोटे-छोटे मतलब होप भी आती है। जब बहुत सारे और हम सबके पास ऐसी कहानियाँ होंगी ना, अब ये जो कहानी हमने देखी भी कि कैसे जो है एडोलेसेंट्स अपनी छोटे-छोटे तरीकों से अपनी ज़िंदगी की जो डोर है, उसको अपने हाथों में लेने की कोशिश भी करते हैं। थैंक
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the hope that adolescents do not really back down, right? They keep trying. Even in our areas, we see that they are negotiating for 3 months more in the school, 1 year more in the school. And by doing that, they're actually reaching the colleges. Uh, It breaks my heart to see that they have to negotiate so hard. But, that's also our hope that they can negotiate that hard. So, Nisha, I just, because you are in Empower and you kind of see a lot of investment patterns that happen in this space. So, can you tell us a little bit about what's the patterns that you are seeing and if you are seeing a shift in the investment patterns and what do you think it's for good, bad, ugly, nice?
You know, I think there's a couple of things. One is the decline of ODA funding right now is a very, very important moment in philanthropy, right? Global aid खत्म हो रहा है, बहुत खत्म तो नहीं हो रहा, पर बहुत ही reduce हो रहा है. And what is the world saying? The world is saying long-term funding होनी चाहिए, flexible funding होनी चाहिए, और local community organizations को पैसे मिलने चाहिए. So yes, it is a very tough geopolitical environment to be working in this sector globally, not just limited to India. But jo silver lining nikal ke aayi hai is the world is saying something that we at Empower have believed for 25 years. We are been around. We're a quarter of a century old, and we're celebrating that this year. But what we know to be true, or the silver lining that has emerged, is these three things are critical to long-term transformational change. And what we mean by that is, आप जितने भी log frames ले लो, जितने भी project-based, you know, I'm going to work with 400 girls to get them into the next year of school. That is fantastic, right? And there's no taking away from that. But if अगर हम long-term transformational change चाहते हैं, अगर हम एक लड़की की जिंदगी में हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बदलाव लेना चाहते हैं, आप सब experts हो. Everybody who's working in a community organization over me is has far more expertise. But वो एक साल में नहीं होता. वो एक project report में बैठ नहीं सकता, right? You have to critically work with a cohort of people so that yes, they are completing their next year of secondary school, but जब वो घर जाते हैं, they're also resisting violence. और जब वो 15, 16, 17 साल के होते हैं, they're also resisting an early marriage. And those things don't fit neatly into a log frame. Those things also don't fit neatly into a 12-year project cycle. So I think that this has been very difficult and I can say this because Empower is a funder, for many funders to understand. But I think the tide is turning, and there is the positive, glass half full, is with the actual decline of ODA funding, people are beginning to recognize कि wisdom कहाँ पर है, local community organizations में है, युवा लोगों में है, and we need to be listening to them more actively.
And I know, Divya, that Girls First Fund was recently going through a whole strategic planning exercise, and I had the opportunity to be part of that. And you were listening to a lot of organizations from Haiti to East Africa to parts of India and Nepal. And what do you think? Like, how do you think this investment is shaping at this point in time? And like Nisha is saying, do you think more people are listening to the ground?
आई थिंक आई एग्री विद दिशा कि डेफिनेटली इतना तो चेंज आया है कि ये जो एक समझ है एक तरीके की कि अगर आपको लॉन्ग टर्म चेंज की उम्मीद है, सस्टेनेबल चेंज की उम्मीद है, तो आपको ग्रास रूट्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस तक फंडिंग पहुंचानी होगी, इफेक्टिवली पहुंचानी होगी। और गर्ल्स फर्स्ट फंड का मॉडल हमेशा वेरी सिमिलर टू एम्पावर, बट वी आर मच यंगर, यू आर 25 years, वी आर जस्ट अबाउट 6 years old, वी जस्ट कंप्लीटेड 5 years, इज डेफिनेटली दिस दैट हम कैसे एक अकम्पनीमेंट रोल प्ले कर सकते हैं ना, तो फंडिंग प्लस फंड भी हो और उसके साथ जो भी कैपेसिटी नीड्स हो वो हम कैसे उसमें अपने पार्टनर्स के साथ वो राह कैसे चल सकें। बट लोग ज़्यादा सुन रहे हैं कि नहीं, हमारी उम्मीद है, एंड आई थिंक दैट इज़ अ क्रिटिकल रोल जो हमें प्ले करना पड़ेगा। हम यहाँ डोनर है लेकिन हमारे भी डोनर्स हैं, हम उनके साथ कैसे बातचीत कर रहे हैं, हम अपने पार्टनर्स का डायरेक्ट इंटरफेस कैसे करा पा रहे हैं, लैंग्वेज जस्टिस कैसे होगी? जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि अगर हम इंग्लिश नहीं बोल पा रहे हैं, तो क्या इसका मतलब हम अपनी बात नहीं सुना पाएँगे? नहीं, वो आज की तारीख में कोई बाधा एक्चुअली है नहीं, अगर आप उसके लिए डिज़ाइन और प्लान करेंगे। और एक दूसरा बड़ा चेंज जो एटलीस्ट इंडिया के अंदर, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ एफसीआरए के भी रूल्स अब बहुत ही टाइट हो चुके हैं, वो ये है कि कैसे इंडियन फिलैंथ्रोपी को हम कैसे मोबिलाइज़ कर सकें। और यहाँ हमने देखा कि एक जो चेंजिंग ट्रेंड है, पहले होता था कि अगर एक ग्लोबल आईएनजीओ है, उसकी एक स्ट्रैटेजी होती थी, वो स्ट्रैटेजी को कंट्री में उतारते थे, फिर अपने पार्टनर्स मतलब वो पार्टनर खोजते थे। पर अब ऐसा हो गया है कि पार्टनर्स या ग्रास रूट संस्थाओं को डोनर खोजने हैं, है ना? और उसमें उनकी ऊर्जा जानी है, पहले तो खोजना कि मेरे, अगर मैं लड़कियों या महिलाओं के नेतृत्व में काम, कौन से वो डोनर हैं जो मुझे सपोर्ट करेंगे। फिर मैं उन तक अपना कनेक्ट, अब वो ये कहीं कोई वेबसाइट और उस तरीके से बहुत है नहीं, तो कैसे मैं उनको खोजूँ, उन तक कैसे अपनी पहुँच बनाऊँ, उनसे बात कैसे करूँ उनके सामने अपनी, और क्योंकि प्रपोज़ल, बजट, ये सब चीज़ें अब शायद थोड़ी बाद में आती हैं। जो पहले होता था कि रिक्वेस्ट फॉर प्रपोज़ल है, आपने प्रपोज़ल बनाया, लॉग फ्रेम, बजट, ऑल ऑफ दैट। नाउ इट्स लाइक रिलेशनशिप बिल्डिंग। You start with relationship building, you share your work, you should have some crisp stories to share your outcomes, और फिर आप शायद एक या दो पन्ने का शायद आप प्रपोजल बनाएंगे और बजट बनाएंगे। इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ सील डील के ये प्रोजेक्ट आपको मिलने वाला है। अब इसमें हमें जो, क्योंकि हम ज़्यादातर ग्रास रूट्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ काम करते हैं, यहाँ पर रोल अब जो हमारा भी चेंज हो रहा है वो ये है कि कैसे हम और ऐसे डोनर्स के बारे में पता भी करें और वो कनेक्ट कैसे उनके साथ करवा सकें। बट आई थिंक उम्मीद है।
You have to talk about funding plus, because I find that extremely interesting, and I find that Girls First Fund is playing a very important role, in which not only they're doing funding plus, they're also bringing their funders to do funder plus.
Yeah.
And we are working with you, and we are working with some of your funders, so that gives us a lot of hope about the funding scenario on trust based philanthropy. Would you talk about funding plus?
So it's at both levels. One is with, the donors that are trusted us and we're a donor collaborative, first of all. So it's not like, the donor has given us money and, we are just submitting a report. They are actually representatives from each of our donors sit in our board. So every quarter we are actually sharing back to them progress, but also challenges, right? I think that part of it is really important, that we aim to end child marriage. India is a country where it's been 100+ year practice. We are not going to end it by 2030. But there are important progress indicators, and how can we actually look at progress? I think that donor education is part of the upside of the funding plus model in a sense. But working with partners, it's really around पार्टनर की क्या ज़रूरत है। और जैसे मैंने जैसे एग्जांपल दिया, अभी इंडिया में हो सकता है कि जो हमारे पार्टनर्स जो ग्वाटेमाला में है, या जो युगांडा में है, वहाँ पर सब ग्रांटिंग एटसेट्रा के इतने इश्यूज़ नहीं, लेकिन इंडिया में दरकार डेफ़िनिटली है फॉर डाइवर्सिफाइंग योर सोर्सेज़ ऑफ फंडिंग एंड वन ऑफ द की नीड्स दैट हैज़ कम अप इज़ कि कैसे हम इंडियन डोनर्स तक कैसे हम पहुँचे। आप तो हमें सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम और क्योंकि हमने शुरुआत की थी करीब 27 पार्टनर्स के साथ झारखंड में। इन 2-3 सालों में हमारे 4 पार्टनर का एफसीआरए चला गया। हम चाह के भी उनको नहीं सपोर्ट कर सकते। तो उस सिचुएशन में क्या इसका मतलब ये है कि चलो हम सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते तो अब हमारा रिश्ता ख़त्म हो गया? या हम उस रिश्ते को कैसे देख रहे हैं कि क्या हम कौन से इंडियन डोनर्स तक अपनी पहुँच बढ़ा पा रहे हैं ताकि हम उनको कनेक्ट कर सकें और उनका जो काम, उनके जो स्टाफ जो उसी क्षेत्र से हैं, उनकी ज़िंदगी भी आगे चले, उनका काम भी ना रुके। So some of the support very much in India is around looking for how do we fundraise more effectively in this different environment. And a lot of the demand, it's really about listening to partners actually. उनकी क्या ज़रूरतें हैं? अगर वो feminist leadership पे काम करना चाहते हैं, अगर वो एक की डिमांड जो आती है वो ग्रास रूट्स फैसिलिटेटर से कि हमें पता है कि जेंडर, एसआर-एचआर, यौनिकता पे बात करना ज़रूरी है, लेकिन हमें अंदर ही संकोच है और कैसे हम ये बातें ज़मीन पर करें लड़के-लड़कियों के साथ, हमारे पास वो टूल्स नहीं हैं। तो उनके साथ वो काम कर पाना, उनको सपोर्ट कर पाना, इट्स दैट इज़ रियली अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट दैट फंडिंग प्लस मॉडल। एंड आई थिंक द थर्ड एलिमेंट दैट आइड लाइक टू से इज़ दैट we are very learning oriented, so it is from the conversation is not from the point of view कि अच्छा हमने ये किया तो इसका तुम रिजल्ट क्या दिखाओगे। उसके ऊपर बातचीत करना, उसकी चुनौतियों को समझना और वो सेफ स्पेस बना पाना कि ये बोलना कि हाँ ये चीज़ें काम की, लेकिन शायद हमने एक जैसे हमने कुछ समय पहले एक प्रोसेस ट्राई किया था जहाँ हमने फेमिनिस्ट लीडरशिप के ऊपर ओडी प्रोसेसेस इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज करने की कोशिश की थी, वो कुछ हद तक सक्सेसफुल नहीं रहा। तो उसके ऊपर भी बातचीत करना कि क्या वो चुनौतियाँ आई थी और क्या कुछ हम कर पाए, लेकिन शायद हम अभी उस स्टेज पर नहीं हैं जहाँ पर वो हम नेक्स्ट स्टेप ले सकें। आई थिंक वो ऑनेस्टी रख पाना और वो कन्वर्सेशंस रख पाना बहुत ज़रूरी है।
So, because Divya actually started that, and I thought that as I have worked with both of you, and one thing that I have always felt, and both of your organization do that beautifully well, is picking up people who are going to be the grantee partners link to your organization, and you kind of pick up people who are very rooted in the context, they know the issues. How do you do that? And how important that is? Because the next question that we were getting into was a co created agenda. And both of you are constantly talking about listening. So, is there, how do you choose your people from the, for working with you so that they listen and get?
So I think there's 2 or 3 things that I want to touch upon. One is we've made the commitment to fund our grantee partners for 10 years. And similar to GFF, we don't have an endowment, we don't have a corpus. So we fundraise year on year. And our funding that might come in might be for 2 years or 3 years, but we deploy it for 10 on the ground. And the reason we do that is because you need to leverage community wisdom. You need to recognize कि like actual expertise kahan par hoti hai. And I always joke that I have a fancy title in front of my name. And I spent 7 years of my life talking about female commercial drivers in Delhi. Now, but tell me honestly, mere paas zyada expertise hai about being a female commercial driver in Delhi? Or does a female commercial driver in Delhi have more expertise? But आवाज किससे ज़्यादा लोग सुनते हैं, right? And that is a fundamental problem. So in walking shoulder to shoulder for 10 years with our grantee partners, we've committed to that. It is one of the hardest things to do, but we are saying कि हम local wisdom को leverage करें. To your point, the second most important thing is finding the people who are not going to view a funder-fundee relationship as a hierarchy, right? And that is very tough because it is so natural that power dynamic कि हम आपको पैसे दे रहे हैं, आप प्लीज हमारी बातें सुनिए, क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं सुन रहे हमारी बातें, we'll take the money, right? And it's really changing that dynamic. And we've been really lucky of our 20 odd program officers who are globally. So Empower works in 15 countries around the world, and 100% of our team is actually based in country. So it's not like we're flying in from London or flying in from New York to be like, Acha, we've arrived in Accra and Ghana. Now please show us around. It is somebody living in Buenos Aires, somebody living in Abuja, a beautiful team, several of whom are here, who are living in Delhi, who speak the language, who understand the local context, who understand कि इस country में, not even इस country में, इस district में सबसे बड़ी चुनौतियां क्या हैं लड़कियों के लिए. So I think that's the second thing is not trying to helicopter into situations and say we know best because we're aligned with global best practices or because we have fancy titles. And then I think the third thing is, like, jokes aside, when we started this fireside chat, we talked about community, right? But it's also the recognition that you're not doing it alone. Like, there's so many of us, like, we have worked together so deeply because, even at a funder level, is because it's walking shoulder to shoulder with those who are values aligned, because that is how you're going to move the needle about decolonizing, decentralizing knowledge, decentralizing who has a seat at the table. And मैं हमेशा joke करती हूँ कि हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि who has a seat at the table, but what if the table's not meant to be a table? What if we're meant to be sitting on the floor on gaddas instead, right? And just reframing that and reframing that and redefining that.
I think some of the ways, of course, is also because our organization is looking at working on child marriage from a lens of building girls' leadership. So, high prevalence areas. So, for example, in India, we chose Jharkhand. प्रैग्मेटिज्म एक स्टाफ है कितना ट्रैवल और इन्वेस्टमेंट जो करेगा तो एक स्टेट लिया शुरुआत के लिए लेकिन आई थिंक सिर्फ जो मैं चीज़ जोड़ूंगी वेरी मच अग्रीइंग विद व्हाट निशा सेड व्हाट आर द काइंड ऑफ allies that we can find in globally but also very important locally. And I think we had so my predecessor Pooja actually took support of the girls advisory group. One of the ways in which we try and seed in girls leadership is not just जो community में काम हो रहा है लेकिन संस्था के अंदर या फिर गर्ल्स फर्स्ट फंड के भी वर्किंग में कैसे हम लड़कियों को एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे सकें जहां वो कुछ किस्म की निर्णय लेने की क्षमता को अपनी बढ़ा सके. एंड आई थिंक जब हमने अपने ग्रांटी पार्टनर सेलेक्ट किए थे उस समय एम्पावर का गर्ल्स एडवाइजरी ग्रुप था जो कि एक कंबाइंड पैनल था जहाँ पे गर्ल्स फर्स्ट फंड की प्रोग्राम एडवाइजर और लड़कियों ने साथ मिलके जो पार्टनर्स और पार्टनर्स के तरफ से भी उनकी लीडरशिप एंड वी डेफिनेटली गिव प्रेफरेंस टू women led organizations out of our current 21 barring one the remaining are women led organizations. So it was the leader of the organization and one girl leader जिनको अपना काम प्रेजेंट करना था और इस तरफ टेबल के जो गर्ल लीडर्स जो एम्पावर की तरफ से गर्ल्स एडवाइजरी ग्रुप की मेंबर थी वो और जो गर्ल्स फर्स्ट फंड के प्रोग्राम एडवाइजर थे उन्होंने साथ मिलके वो निर्णय लिया था कि हाँ, इस काम में जो जो हमें सुनाई दे रहा है वो जो रियल चुनौतियाँ जो ज़मीन पे हमें आती हैं वो हमें दिख रही है उसकी झलक और किस तरीके से वो अपना काम करेंगे फिर वो निर्णय साथ लेके हमने बनाया.
Now I want some examples because this is like you both of you have beautifully talked about what are the steps of doing it and what are the critical important paths that need to come together to make this happen. Now, give us some examples in which you have co-created an agenda with your grantee partners or your youth leaders and you have taken that forward. Examples.
I think this was one actually. Who are our partners going to be, right? Because the kind of partners will also determine आपकी किस तरीके की दिशा आपका प्रोग्राम लेगा, right? But beyond that, it's also after that जो लड़के and एक बार जब हमारे partners का एक कोहॉर्ट बन गया फिर उसमें से जो लड़की लीडर्स जो निकल के आई उनके साथ भी एक लीडरशिप लर्निंग जर्नी हम चलाते हैं जो उनकी खुद की ऑफ कोर्स उनकी खुद की क्षमताओं को बढ़ाने के लिए और ये क्रॉस कंट्री है एक्चुअली. सो जस्ट लाइक यू सेड कि आपने स्ट्रैटेजी पे इनपुट किया और हमारे बहुत सारे ग्रांटीज ने हमारी स्ट्रैटेजी पे इनपुट दिया और वो स्ट्रैटेजी अभी ऑलमोस्ट तैयार है. उसी तरीके से हमें गर्ल्स का भी चेंज मेकर काउंसिल एक हमारा बना है जिसमें कि वो लगातार जो है कौन सी नीड्स उभर के आ रही हैं, कौन सी चीज़ों पे हमें फोकस रखना है, किस तरीके के और पार्टनर्स हमें जोड़ने हैं. जैसे कि हमें रियलाइज़ हुआ कि क्लाइमेट चेंज या फिर अगर हम देखें हमारे कोहोर्ट में तो we are not really working with any groups जो कि are catering to young people who are living with disability or LGBTQIA groups. These got left out of our cohorts, right? And धीरे धीरे ये realize होता है कि of course there are needs on the grounds, but perhaps जिन partner को हमने उस पहले चरण में choose किया, वो उनके focus area में ये issues नहीं थे. तो अब इन issues को हम कैसे आगे लेके जाएंगे, उस पे हमें सोचना पड़ेगा.
One of my favorite panels that I have done with GFF is this, where Prima came with her 1-year-old daughter, yeah, from Uganda. And, everybody was holding her daughter till the time she spoke. And the girl was actually taking away the mic, which, coming to Nisha's point, that when a girl is 1-year-old or 3-year-old, she wants to reach the sky, right? She wants to take the mic and speak. And then somewhere during the time, they kind of start hiding. But Nisha, what do you think a co-created agenda look like?
We have such similar philosophies, but I can give you a couple of concrete examples. So Empower has a 3-year strategy in India, and every 3 years we refresh this strategy. And without exception, since we started doing this in 2013, we have listened to our grantee partners and young people. So we don't take that step. Without really saying, like, what is the trajectory, what is the North Star of us as a funder is so driven by what our grantee partners are seeing on the ground. Similarly, as of 2024, so this is none of our grantee partners are selected without going through our Girls Advisory Council. So we are actually listening to girls to ask them कि like आपकी सबसे बड़ी ज़रूरतें क्या है? So not only are they at a strategic level guiding us, but even at an operational level, we are asking them for advice in terms of what programmatic decisions we should be making. But I think in terms of a co-created agenda, it's a lot simpler, is that we have 165 partners globally. Every single conversation that a program officer have with a partner doesn't begin with हमारी strategy ये है, आप बताओ, आप हमारे लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. It's not that. We are saying, आप बताइए आपकी ज़रूरतें क्या हैं, and how are you moving the needle in relation to gender, in relation to the digital divide, in relation to non-traditional livelihoods. आप हमें बताइए कि आप करना क्या चाहते हैं, right? Like, so what you want is what is leading the conversation, not हमारी strategy ये है, तो आप please put yourself into a neat box. And the results of that are fantastic. I'm going to use a couple of global examples. And if we look at our youth council in Indonesia, they have actually created a SRHR program for adolescent girls and boys that is being implemented across Jakarta, across like 7 of our partners. In South Africa, our youth fellows are speaking out very actively in relation to mental health and have not only weighed in on our global mental health strategy, but they're also helping us think through modules and ideas that our partners can implement that are responsive to the needs of youth. Our youth council in Mexico, very similarly to India, is actually weighing in on our Mexico country strategy. So I think it's also, what I would say is there isn't one blueprint, right? And the point is to just get started because you all have the wisdom. And it's about saying, what are the spaces that I will create to listen to young people? And if you are actively, properly listening to young people, you will probably it won't look like anything Girls First Fund has done, and it won't look like anything Empower has done, because the young people that you are talking to will have different needs.
And on that, like, these are all music to my ears, because because we are often told that we must craft our strategies to the needs of the donors rather than needs of the ground, and it's a real struggle to constantly say that our people need this and not that, and what you are hearing in the ecosystem may not be what is actually happening on the ground. But on that note, I'm opening this up for this lovely audience, and we will take some questions for you. Can we take like 3-4 questions, and then Divya and Nisha, you can decide who's going to take?
My question is that as funders, we have a framework we are talking about, we have compliances and everything. and we have a lot of intention and desire to uh, uh, have a co-partnership with, with the community members and whom we are supporting. In fact, they are supporting us because they are letting us come in their spaces. So more often than not, we know, being part of, and previously worked for the funders, that do we have those spaces within the formats, within our frameworks, where we have given space to even be curious about what are the voices of the communities and have they been integrated in their historical context, not only as a support, but they taking also co-leadership. And I know a lot of grassroots organizations who are so together with them. They are like families. They know 100 villages like family members. However, when it comes to the framework, we are still looking at the input side of it. And somebody said, fantastic, that we all are at the input side. The community is at the outcome and impact side. So therefore, this question is, and the second question is that compliance is a truth. And within that framework, we are functioning. So, and yet I think there is a freedom, because freedom starts from the mindset. So how do we kind of align the balance? Thank you so much.
Nisha, Divya, I love both of you, so this is not to put you on spot in any kind of thing. But two things. One is, I've known Girls First Fund, I've known Empower for many years, and the kind of philanthropy practices that you have are truly decolonial, even before decolonial became a buzzword, right? How can you share your knowledge and information with a large group of Indian philanthropies to whom decolonial has a different kind of meaning? So that's, and is there any effort at sharing learning at your? Second of all, with OECD money kind of going down, philanthropy is not giving to gender. I often see funding agencies and funding organizations like Girls First Fund or Empower competing for the same pot of money that a Educate Girls or a Breakthrough or any other organization is doing that. How do we handle this? Because then that pot of money becomes so constricted and so small that not everybody, and people who know people have an access to it, and people who can give it out to a large number of organization has an access to it. So that, I think, is a big problem in our time. So
As not for profit leaders, we are constantly struggling to balance short term with the long term. It's really nice to hear that you're supporting long term, but how do you help your partners do this balancing? And especially when the outcomes cannot be always quantitatively measured, girls' autonomy, their self esteem, confidence, the ability to speak up and negotiate, things like this.
We take our role very seriously as a bridge between our funders and our grantee partners to incite that curiosity. So the other thing about Empower is that we were born out of the financial services community in New York. And I can say it in this room, our funders were Caucasian bankers in the financial services industry in New York. And even today, 50% of our funding comes from high net worth individuals in finance. So what you say about curiosity is so critical and it's so key because it is about bringing philanthropists on a journey. And we have to take, especially as intermediaries, we have to take that role very seriously. Is how are we actually shifting norms, not only in the grassroots, we're leaving that to the experts. That's everyone here's job. But how are we shifting norms in philanthropy and shifting giving structures in philanthropy? And that is possibly one of the most critical roles that we play at Empower. And second to that, the role that we take very seriously is how are we moving the needles on best practices. So what we mean by that, at least for Empower, is girls and gender, meaningful youth engagement, 10-year partnerships, and mental health, right? Topically, those are the things that we're aiming to move the needle on. Those are all how things, how we fund, right? But our role as an educator to those who want to be educated in their own giving journeys is critical. And those pockets of curiosity show up we have grants meetings, we share out our strategy, we create those moments and those opportunities for our donors to actually learn from our grantee partners and young people, not the other way around. And that shows up in our board meetings. For example, our India board meetings have our Girls Advisory Council at every single meeting. right? And over time, we want to see their role sort of increase. So that's to your point. And I think to your point on compliance and impact measurement. So I think that, very often हम कहते हैं कि trust based philanthropy का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम कुछ मतलब ये है कि हम कोई measurement नहीं करने वाले. But I think the question is that we have to measure only what is useful to us. So I can tell you, Hamara example is in 2023, we took our impact measurement framework, ripped it up and recreated it. And what it led to was a 68% decrease in the indicators that we are asking for. So impact measurement is necessary. I'm an ML&E person. Like our ML&E globally sits under me at Empower. So I'm not going to badmouth it. But what I am going to say is we are only asking for what we are measuring. And I think that should be, as funders, is are we doing this because acha lagta hai? Because then you're just putting your grantee partners through, you're making them jump through hoops unnecessarily. But if you're actually using it, then that's amazing. Sohini, to your point, I think it's two things. So one is mainstreaming gender. I think one of my biggest pet peeves, in fact, Noina, I was saying it to you this morning, is when I open up an annual report and I see हमारा एक women's empowerment का vertical है. And it's like women's empowerment for what, right? So what we've done is we don't actually have a gender vertical. We see it as a horizontal and we see it as a non-negotiable, right? It is a cross-cutting through everything that we do. So it informs everything that we do. And similarly, so does the decentralization of knowledge and meaningfully engaging young people. I think to your point about it being a zero-sum game, it is very, very difficult because we see our role to be able to fund not breakthroughs or educate girls of the world, but those who will be breakthroughs and educate girls one day. And today, who don't have the resource or the ability or the network to be able to solicit larger funding. Right. So that is very much our role. And we do have to be careful, right? The sandbox is the same. ODA is shrinking. And we absolutely have a non-compete with any of our grantee partners. So we've actively withdrawn from funding if our grantee partner is in the last three, and former or current grantee partner is in the top three, or because our game is very different. Our game is to say, tomorrow you will be as large as a breakthrough or as large as an educate girls, but today you are a $70,000 organization that we are in so many cases people's first international funder, right? So our role is with those organizations that come before, and we have to be very careful because the point is to get money to good organizations, not to get all the money for ourselves. And I think the long-term question is interesting and it's very hard, but I think I'll address it really quickly because I know I've been talking for a very long time. But it's very difficult because our funders are often short-term funders. So what we do, I mean, honestly, at a very boring, reductive point, sort of answer is we have to manage our cash flows very, very effectively. And we view it as a mortgage. So for every grantee partner that we bring on, we're taking on a 10-year mortgage. And in the same way you financially plan, कि like मैं अपनी mortgage कैसे भरूंगी is exactly the decision that we're taking.
With Breakthrough, when we decide that in any of the field areas that we are going to stay for 10 years, we took that call that we are going to stay for 10 years. None of the donors told us that they're going to stay with us for 10 years. And which is why every time we jump with joy when our GFF renewal comes up. But that's our commitment to the grantee partners. But, one thing I just want to underline what Shoini was saying, and probably because that's my question too, that, how do we make your kind of understanding more available to the donor community? Can there be like Indian donors coming together, talk about these things that you have learned for 25 years, you have learned for 6 years, and share? Can there be like a sharing platform?
I think the first one around compliance but flexibility. I mean, वो तो it's a no brainer. Compliance तो करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो license वगैरह चली जाएगी. तो that is something which I think we take very seriously in terms of, again, investing in our partners, and rules keep changing. So, how are we getting the best in the business to give them that kind of advice on, do's and don'ts, so that at least you have your, legally you are compliant to receive funds from whichever donor. So that is a non-negotiable. But in terms of the flexibility, what we definitely do is actually we don't even have, in very few cases, we have something called a project grant. Actually, it's core grants, which basically means it's that the terminology may be different, but it basically means what Nisha is saying, that it's whatever you were doing. It's not that we are asking you to make like a new project for us, which is time bound and indicator bound. You have been in that space, and most of our organizations have been around for 20, 30 years, right? They are not young or new organizations, but they are very small organizations. I don't even think they actually aspire to become a breakthrough. But what they definitely aspire to is that, they should remain relevant, sustainable, be able to create livelihoods of dignity for themselves and their staffs, and also obviously, serve the communities, and continue to drive that passion with which they started off their journeys mostly. And all of us know it, they are actually women who have faced a lot of personal strife in their own life. They haven't really come into it from a thing of this is going to be my career. There has been a lot of personal strife, and they have slowly said, अच्छा मेरी संस्था एक बन गई, और 20-25 साल पहले बनी, कभी-कभी बीच में बंद भी हो गई क्योंकि फंडिंग ही खत्म हो गई। And फिर फंडिंग आई, and then so it's not even like this, it goes a little bit like this. And I think our attempt in that is really around how can you just make yourself a little bit more robust, है ना? Because अभी तो सिचुएशन जैसे हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि और भी पेचीदा है, तो आप अचानक से ऐसे ना हो जाए। कम से कम थोड़ा तो आपका स्टेबिलिटी हुआ। आई थिंक दैट इज़ रियली अ की मैंडेट। And for that, I mean, to your point exactly around, competition, we all talk about collaboration, but there is competition. I think that is a role we have to play. We cannot shy away from talking about, like, so one of the things we ask, and we are still sort of developing our MEL framework. Okay, how many cases of child marriage did you prevent, right? And it's something that we ask because one of our donor wants to know it. And and it's a common format. So one of the things we have negotiated with our donors is that we're not going to have 5 different formats. We are going to have one format, and पार्टनर भी उसी में देंगे और हम भी उसी में बनाएंगे, and वो रिपोर्ट आप सबके साथ शेयर की जाएगी. But somebody writes say 2 cases or 5 cases. You may think like क्या है ना? मतलब झारखंड में इतनी सारी इतनी हाई रेट है चाइल्ड मैरिज की, आपने 5 केस 1 साल में रोके तो कौन-सी बड़ी बात कर दी? I think bringing out the nuances of those 5 cases, it's like mental, physical, financial, long term. You have to come up against power structures in the community. You have to stay with that girl. You have to deal with government officials who think कि तुम क्यों ये काम कर रहे हो, अच्छा ही तो है, शादी कर रही है, तुम क्यों रुकावट डाल रहे हो इसमें, हाँ? You have to come up against structures of caste and patriarchy to sort of keep that or prevent that marriage from happening. I think bringing out those stories and those nuances, that मेरा तो कहना है तुमने एक भी रोक लिया तो बहुत बड़ा काम कर लिया, राइट? या तुमने एक मैरिज का केस अनल करवा लिया लॉ यूज़ करके, या तुमने किसी एक लड़की को एक अब्यूज़िव मैरिज में थी, उस मैरिज से आप निकलवा पाए और उसकी कुछ हद तक उसकी हेल्प कर सके। वही एक, उसमें इतनी सारी लेयर्स हैं कि जब तक हम ये कहानियाँ नहीं बताएँगे, इट्स जस्ट अ नंबर, है ना? एंड वी ऑल सब्सक्राइब टू दैट एसडीजी के we should have zero child marriages by 2030. What's behind the numbers, and therefore how are we looking at agency building? We all want it, है ना? कल भी बहुत बातें हो रही थी कि वो विकसित भारत होगा तो हमारी यंग जनरेशन will be like the super power India, ये वो. But what does it really take? It takes decision making, and we are not allowed to make decisions, right? From childhood to adolescence. And how are we able to shift that needle? I think that really is the onus, because as you are saying, the groundwork तो पार्टनर ही कर रहे हैं, हम मतलब हम तो कभी वो कर ही नहीं पाएँगे। बट हमारी वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हाउ डू वी रीच न्यू सर्कल्स, एंड दैट वी हैव टू गेट मोर फंडिंग टू दिस स्पेस.
So, when Divya, when you gave this example about donors' preference, about I had worked on a project called Tipping Point, and you all know about that. And the mandate was to stop child marriage or to reduce child marriage, and that was there in the log frame everywhere, everywhere. But when we started doing it, we saw that all the staff were conscious about stopping the child marriage, And that made it so punitive. So when they were discussing with the families, it was like, stop the child marriage. It was there in the psyche. So the donor also agreed to say that we are not working on stopping the child marriage. We are working on the agency of the women. So we changed the whole thing all around. So it was all based on building girls agency. How do you engage community? How do you engage boys? How do you engage parents? And how do you engage the other stakeholders so that the girls agency is built? And we saw that in Bangladesh, it was 63% of like marriage averted. And that was not easy. Like we were not capturing the data throughout the years, but then it was possible. So this is what I was telling about the donor who agreed to do this.
So thank you so much for that very, very enriching discussion. Each girl continuing her education. It's every year. So I always tell my team that Komal has become a head teacher in her school. Might look like a simple thing, right? That she has become a head teacher in her school. But that Komal had to fight with her family for her own education with a breakthrough CD every day going with her and talking about it. From that to her becoming a role model is a very big change that kind of happens. And so far, we have people like you in the donor sector. We are very, very hopeful things are going to be as they are, and we will invest to impact.